A few years back, I was driving through the Colorado mountains, and on paper, I had a perfect job. I worked at a great company with great people. But the problem was that inside, I had a tight chest, heavy heart, and on the drive, I said out loud, I need to quit. And sometimes clarity shows up when we finally step away. And for me, it happened on a road trip in beautiful Colorado. And today's episode is about that kind of clarity and becoming limitless. So, hi everyone, my name is Limor Bergman Gross. I am a former director of engineering and I turned executive coach about 5.5 years ago. This podcast, From a Woman to a Leader, helps women in tech step into visibility, influence, and leadership without pretending to be someone they're not. And I'm super excited to share with you my guest today. Her name is Uma Subramanian, and after 20 years at Microsoft, Uma took a courageous leap into a startup. And later on, just on a simple walk with her dog, she realized, I'm limitless. And so you are. She now teaches leaders to be undeniable in the room. And in this conversation, you learn how to see bigger than your role and pitch bolder ideas to get a yes. We also talk about why servant leadership, from the word serve, unlocks results. The commit first habit to stretch beyond fear and how to shine without feeling like you are bragging and amplify others. And last but not least, we talk about systems to sustain success so you don't burn out. If you ever wonder, do I really have what it takes? I know I have. And I'm sure many of you. This episode is for you. And Uma is an incredible person. I was on her podcast as well, and we became friends. So I highly recommend you to subscribe, share the podcast with a colleague or with a woman who needs a nudge. And let's dive into becoming limitless with Uma Subramanian. Let's dive right in. Hi, Uma. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. Thank you so much, Limor, for inviting me to your podcast. It's an honor to be here.
The honor is all mine, and it's a great pleasure. Thank you so much for being here, Uma. And we're talking about something that I think a lot of women will resonate with: becoming limitless. Sorry. And you talked about it when we had a pre-call. You mentioned, during a walk in the park, I realized that I'm actually limitless, that there is nothing I cannot do. Can you share a little bit about that moment and that realization?
Yeah, of course. It's definitely one of the defining moments in my life. It was an ordinary walk. At the time, it was August of 2022. At the time, I had left Microsoft after 20 years and joined a tech startup, ramped up quickly, did really well, was having a blast. We were delivering outstanding results. But as I approached about 10, 11 months into the startup, leadership changed. And due to a sudden event, a circumstance, I ended up resigning from the startup with no backup plan. Just suddenly I ended up resigning. And this walk happened about 3 weeks after my last day at that startup. So I was going on this walk with my dog, Mia, and just in my neighborhood, very, an ordinary casual walk. And I was reflecting on everything that happened in my life and career. And as I was reflecting on that, I was suddenly filled with an appreciation and gratitude that I realized nothing will really stop me. Like if I set my mind to do something, I'm going to achieve it. And that was a recurring theme in my life from childhood to, the day that I was taking that walk. And that's when suddenly that, aha moment came to me. And I realized I'm limitless. And then the moment that thought came, the next thought was, well, wait, I'm not any special. Like I didn't come with, any special privilege or, you know, uh, circumstances or anything like that. If I felt limitless, then I realized everyone else is limitless as well. And
For
that was
sure.
another a really intense like realization. And I was reflecting on that and I said, yeah, like everyone else is limitless. We can all feel this way, and we can all feel like we can go and achieve anything that we set our mind to, and think big, and go have massive impact in the world. And that's when another realization happened, which was I realized it's all about leadership. Great leaders will elevate people, will make people look bigger and enlarge them. And poor leaders or weaker leaders or leaders that are still growing would um, diminish people and make people feel small.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's when um, I realized I will use my voice, my time, my energy to help other individuals realize that they are limitless, and also realize their unlimited potential in leadership. And so everything kind of fell into place in that walk for me. And I came back. I remember coming back from the walk. My husband was working from home. And I told him, I'm starting Limitless Leaders. And then the whole journey started, and I haven't stopped ever since.
This is Uma, this is an incredible story. And I would say one thing. There is, I mean, no coincidence that it happened to you during a walk. Because a lot of times we have to really disconnect from the grind, from the stress, from the day to day in order to have those kind of realizations. Like, for example, for me, a different example, but like I remember that I was very miserable in one of the jobs that I had. And I was kind of debating what to do because it was a great company, a lot of great benefits, great people, but like something was not kind of working for me there. And we just took kind of a few days off. There was some holiday, some kind of holiday. We lived back then in Colorado, drove to the beautiful mountains. And during the drive, like I told my husband, yeah, I need to quit. I need to quit the job. So I think it's no coincidence.
Yeah, I'm realizing we all have like similar journeys, and time away, as you're mentioning, time away from these things helps us reflect and totally hear you.
Yeah. So I guess the message I want to give to our listeners, if you feel hopeless or, I don't know, down or something is not working out for you, maybe you're stressed, maybe you're unsure, it's really important to even take a walk in the park.
Yes.
With a dog, if you have a dog, or just do something even small to disconnect, because ideas and thoughts, like we can think more clearly when we kind of relax a little bit.
Yeah, what a beautiful advice and tip, Limor. Thank you so much for sharing that. I totally agree.
And Uma, let's go back to you. I mean, you've done incredible stuff. First of all, I want to give you kudos. Like, you had an incredible career at Microsoft. You worked there for how many? 20 years?
20 years, yes.
20 years in Microsoft, and you're very, very successful. And I think that I kind of emphasize that because I think it relates to what you're saying about limitless. Most people will say, it works. I'm at a great company, right? You enjoyed there. You told me like it was a great company. We know it's a great company. I was really happy. Like I was doing very well. Yet you chose to leave for a startup. And this is very brave. So kudos to you. And many people would say, like, are you crazy? Probably people told you that you're crazy, right?
Yes.
So
Many
what
times.
so what was the thing in your head that told you, well, I will use your words. I'm limitless. I can do pretty much everything I want. And this is what I want.
Yeah. So definitely the word limitless didn't come to me at that time. Like
Yeah, I
I think
know.
it was only after this walk. But honestly, what happened was I completed 20 years at Microsoft, and literally my manager threw me an amazing anniversary party, and I was filled with joy because that party was amazing. Like people from all through my career showed up to that anniversary gathering. It was during COVID, so it was online, and it was just like one of my colleagues called it a love fest. Because it was like that, like people were just coming and saying so many sweet kind words of the impact that I had in for the team company on them, and it was just beautiful. So I was so filled with gratitude that I went to LinkedIn for the first time and posted my very first post. And it was a gratitude post for the amazing 20 years I had at Microsoft. And I
Wow.
said, like, it's 20 years, but it still feels like day one. I'm full of ideas, full of energy, and, thank you. And I had thanked all my mentors, managers, teams, all of that. And that was my very first LinkedIn post.
Yeah.
And that post actually led me to have this startup reach out to me, an executive from the startup reach out to me, and they asked, they realized I'm building a developer community at Microsoft. And so they reached out and said, hey, we want to build a global developer community from scratch. Would you like to come and do that? And I was honestly of the opinion that I will retire from Microsoft one day. Like I did not want to leave for any other company. It was very common at Microsoft in my circle, in my peers, to leave Microsoft, go to Amazon, Facebook, Meta, Google, and then some people would come back. Like this kind of a dance was always going around me, like with people next to me.
Yeah.
But I was never tempted because I just was loving everything that I was doing at Microsoft. I evolved my role into, again, I never limited my contributions or my impact to a role or function that I had. I was doing really big things that traditionally, was not even part of my role. So I was
Yeah.
having a blast. I was, very visible, very strategic, impact I was creating. And I was having a lot of fun, a lot of recognition as well. So I was really happy. But when this person reached out to me, it was all of a sudden, and for some reason, I think it was meant to happen. So it clicked. Like I went and looked at the startup, did a little bit of research, and then I said yes to the executive to talk to him and explore the idea. And of course, it ended up in me joining. I would say that anytime we make these big changes, there is a little bit of fear. There is a little bit of, hey, will this work? Is this a good idea? I'm sure that thought came to me as well.
Yeah.
But definitely the opportunity and the project, as I talked to the hiring manager, the executive, it was clear that it was a huge leap from what I was doing at Microsoft. And so I just, from all the work that I had done previously on myself, I think I knew how to identify opportunities, how to recognize opportunities that are good for me, even if that felt like a huge, leap. So I said yes. I said yes, and I didn't have a lot of hesitation or doubt. I just went in knowing that this would be great for me, and definitely I was looking at it from a growth standpoint as well. I knew that this would require me to, grow in many ways that I have not even been exposed to, but I was ready for it. And I decided to take the plunge, and I'm happy and grateful I did.
Yeah.
That startup experience was like a boot camp. Like I think of it like an intense boot camp. We were like but I learned a lot. So yeah, it was really good experience.
That's wonderful. And that's kind of what brought you to what you're doing today, right? To Limitless Leaders. So
Yes,
without that,
exactly. Yeah,
many
yeah,
chances that you are still being Microsoft. Not that it's a bad thing,
right.
but you will not create this incredible company. And for all our listeners, I want to say, like, learn from Uma. Taking a leap of faith, saying yes to opportunities without knowing exactly how you're going to do it, even if it feels like, oh, that's going to be a leap. Take a leap of faith in yourself and say yes. I see you nodding. For those who are listening, Uma is nodding. Like, because, it's really important for me to emphasize that because we limit ourselves so much. And soon we're going to hear from you how to become limitless leader. But a lot of times in our life, we need to take decisions that we don't have all the answers, and also we're afraid.
Yes. Yeah. And that is, I totally agree with you, Limor. And that is one thing that I coach my mentees, my clients as well, is commit first. Say yes. If you think the opportunity aligns with your vision, values, purpose, say yes and then figure it out later. Like once you say yes and commit, you're going to be able to figure it out. So yeah, that's really, my motto. And I 100% believe that will, really serve all of us.
For sure. And I do that all the time. When opportunities come to me, and I feel like, as you said, I feel like that's a good opportunity for me. I want to do it. Most of the time, I have no idea what exactly it entails. I say yes and figure out later. I think that's the way. That's the way, in my
Yes.
opinion.
Awesome.
So tell us a little bit about Limitless Leader and how to become one.
So so Limitless Leaders, I help uh, tech professionals become more confident and effective as leaders, become leaders that are highly valued, and like leaders that when they are in the room, their value is undeniable. Like everyone knows the impact that they bring. And these leaders that are bold, taking on big initiatives, making things happen, executing really well. And so that's what I call, my limitless leaders. And then in terms of like how to become limitless, I have a 5S framework that I use.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm happy to share that with your listeners, Limor, today.
That would be wonderful.
And
Let's do it.
yeah, so that the 5S's are see, serve, stretch, shine, and sustain. So the first S, C, it's all about it's about vision and self-awareness. So it's about seeing big. As leaders, we need to be able to see bigger things than others. We need to be able to see things before others too. That's also important. We need to be able to look ahead and see things before others can see. So I help my clients see, expand their vision, expand their thinking, push boundaries, strategic thinking, like all of those aspects built in, so they can see things better and bigger than others. That's the first S. And then the other component of the
Can you give example of what would it look like to see?
So, yes, yeah. So, for example, like I'll take my own example. One of the examples that comes up to me is there was an opportunity at my work where we were thinking, okay, hey, let's come up with a half a day training event that where we can bring in all the software engineers, developers, and um, evangelize our AI platform. This was at Microsoft. And that was the discussion. It was a half a day event. Like that was a discussion that was happening. I went back and I saw a full company wide conference in multiple countries. And I came up with the vision, I put together the plan, and then I went back like just a couple of weeks later, like, in my next one-on-one. It was during the holidays, so we had a little bit of break. So I went back in my next one-on-one to my manager. I said, hey, I think we should do this. And it should be like
Wow.
a conference. And it was and because it aligned with the organization's goals, everyone wanted that AI platform to be adopted by the entire company. So it aligned with everyone in the leadership chain. So that whole project initiative was accepted, and I got bought by in immediately. And that's what I did for like many years in my last few years of my career, was driving that huge conference across countries for Microsoft. So
And this is
that's an
incredible.
example.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so that is an example of that. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, you saw an opportunity that you're passionate about, that aligned with the company vision, and you're not afraid to offer that. Even probably it sounded kind of big and crazy, right? I mean, it's a big vision, right? From something small, from half a day to something the entire company, and it's a huge company. But you're not afraid to kind of, hey, I have an idea. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Hear it out.
And if I had just looked at the resources I had, my team, my resources, I would not have even come up with that. Like I could not have achieved it. But I didn't limit myself with my, role, my team, the resources I had. I just looked at it as, hey, this is what we should do. And then, of course, I went and found a mentor who was driving huge, another AI conference for the company successfully. I found him through my network, and then I reached out to him and asked him, hey, would you be my mentor? I'm trying to do this and I have no background. Like usually these types of conferences are done by marketing people and all that. Like
Yeah.
I had no marketing background at that time. And so this was, I was in the product engineering
Yeah.
divisions, so totally no exposure to those types of things. So this was new, but I went and sought out mentor that had done exactly, and he just set me up for success. Like I went and asked him and got help. He helped me so much. And then again, when I looked at resources for the conference, it was the entire organization. We had 250 people contributing to the conference, like, and plus more, like 250 people just in the US. And then we had, people in other countries where we had the conferences after that. So that's how it happened. But I was, at the like helm of all of that, driving the whole initiative. Vision was mine. I drove the execution. I managed all of that, but I sought out help from hundreds of people to make that happen, because it was a huge initiative. So that's the kind of thing, is not being limited by things like that, and then being able to see big things. And once you know that, yes, this is what the organization needs, being able to um, believe in that first of all, and then persisting and making that happen.
Yeah, I think that there are several things here. It's about having a vision, about having the courage to suggest that bold vision, and then having the courage to say yes to leading it, and figure out along the way how to do it. Finding a mentor, like getting all the help with so many people from probably different kinds, different areas of the organization. Probably you didn't know many
Yes.
of them,
Yeah.
for sure.
Oh
This is
yes, of course.
incredible. We
Yeah, of
already
course.
learned so much from this story alone.
Thank you. So the second S, let's move to the second. The first S, as I said, it's about vision and also
Yeah.
self-awareness. So the other aspect of the C is also being able to see yourself clearly and see other people clearly. So that is also another area that we work on. And to become limitless, I think that is extremely important. To be, you need to know your triggers, you need to know your blind spots, you need to know your strengths, weaknesses, and so that is another key aspect. So that is C. The second S is serve. I think leadership is service. It's about truly listening to others, caring about people, valuing people, and creating environments where everyone can thrive and succeed. And as we said, when we can see things, it's taking those vision and then serving, actually executing that and serving others, serving your customers, serving your team members, all of that. So that is the second S to becoming limitless, of becoming a limitless leader. And the third S is what we've been alluding to a few times here, Limor. It is stretch. It's that courage and growth, take growing out, and taking things, doing things outside of your comfort zone and growing from that, committing and then growing to that. So that is about stretch. I think that's a key aspect of being limitless, is being able to stretch and grow and being courageous. The fourth S is shine. I think this is the one that is many of us are not comfortable, putting the shine and spotlight on us, communicating our value boldly. And so I think that is one thing that, maybe a lot of us need a little bit of coaching. I myself had to grow in this area, but I have worked on that and still work in progress, but I continue to work on that so I can go out and communicate my value and shine. It's about articulating your value, it's executive presence, going and being able to show up confidently. And the other aspect of shine is also illuminating others. So it's not just shining for yourself, but it's also putting the spotlight and shine on others, amplifying other people's impact, enlarging other people, celebrating others' success. So I feel like, to be truly limitless, you cannot be limited to just to your success. You need to be limitless in the sense of being able to just be happy and, celebrating other people as well. So I think that shine to me is, comes from those two angles. And last but not the least, the last S and the fifth S is sustain. I believe that we cannot do all of these things if we don't have good systems and habits in place to sustain, and support systems as well. So I make sure to have different groups of communities that where I can lean in for support. I have systems and habits in place that if there is a challenge, if there is an issue, I can immediately, do so to take some steps or have tools and resources or people that I can lean in or lean on to get that support and get through that. So to me, sustain is very, very critical. This is where self-care, like all of that fits in. And that's another key pillar. If we want to be limitless, we don't want to burn down and crash one day. So making sure that we have good systems in place for us to sustain is also critical, in my opinion. So see, serve, stretch, shine, and sustain. To me, this has been a recurring theme in my life. Like I've grown in all of these areas and I continue to grow in them. And I see as I work with people, these are the 5 areas. If I help them within these 5 areas, I see that my clients can also flourish. People can flourish.
That's beautiful. And obviously, it's not easy. I mean, the framework sounds incredible, and obviously, I mean, it makes total sense. But we know it's not easy. So, do you have any piece of advice, one piece of advice you would give to someone who is actually feel limited? What can they do?
Mm-hmm. I think it is if there's one thing that I would ask people to do is just show up, show up. Like even if you don't feel ready, just show up, and wherever you are right now, see what is like one thing I can do to help me, move forward in the direction that I want to go. Maybe it's a small step, right? Maybe it's not even, something significant, but just ask yourself, what is the one thing that I can do that will, move me closer to where I need to be? Maybe it is reaching out to a friend or a colleague or a connection. and just talking to them, maybe not even asking them for something, but talking to them. Maybe it is, if they're looking for a job, like maybe it is just going and applying for that one position without self-doubt and all of that creeping in. Just go take that step. I think that's what I would say. And then just start from where you are. Don't think that, oh, we need to be here or there to be able to start. Like, we can start wherever we are. And if we keep moving forward inch by inch, we will get there someday. And it all compounds. If we keep doing this, it suddenly compounds, and then you see exponential growth. Like, at least that's how it's been for me. I've been taking small steps, but then if I look back, I'm surprised at the growth and how far I have come. So that would be my advice: is just
That's incredible advice.
taking baby steps.
Yeah, and I would say, I mean, to your comment, you mentioned about confidence and doubt. I would say, even if you doubt yourself, do it.
Yes.
Do it despite the doubt, because a lot of times, I mean, it's not so easy to kind of remove the doubt, all of a sudden have a lot of confidence. Even if you're scared, even if you're doubting, just do it. Take a leap of faith. Try it.
Yes, totally.
Wonderful. Uma, I mean, I can't believe we have covered so much. Before we end, tell our listeners a little bit about how they can find you and if there's anything special going on right now that you want to share.
Sounds good. So yes, one thing would be the LinkedIn, I think, is the best place to reach me. I'm always there. So I think that's the easiest. You can find me on LinkedIn. So that would be the first place. And if you want to have a conversation, I also have a link on my profile where you can set up a one-on-one call with me. And then in terms of specials, we are coming up with a new model for our program, the Pinnacle program that I mentioned. So more information will be available on LinkedIn. I think if you start at LinkedIn, you'll be able to find information there. And I'm happy to always jump in on a conversation and see if we'll be a mutually good fit. We can go from there.
Thank you so much, Uma, for being here with me today. I really enjoyed our conversation. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. I enjoyed our conversation too. It's awesome to be here. Thank you, Limor.
Thank you so much for listening to the episode with Uma. I hope you enjoyed it. And before you go, I have a quick favor to ask. If you enjoy today's episode with Uma about becoming limitless, please rate, follow the show, and share this podcast, especially with a woman you think needs to hear it. Your support helps more women to find the podcast and grow into the confident leader they already are. And before you go, I want to share with you what's coming up next week. So next week, we're diving deep into a topic that I have wrestled with, and I know many of you wrestle with. It's about how to say no without guilt, without backlash, and without burning bridges. And my guest is Sharon Ehrlich. She's a former IT executive, and nowadays she's an executive coach. And she shares how a personal breakdown forced her to rethink everything and start setting boundaries for real. This is, like, from my experience, something everyone needs to hear. And if you always say yes out of fear, you definitely don't want to miss this episode. So make sure you subscribe and follow me on LinkedIn for behind the scene insights and on Substack. And I'll see you next week on From a Woman to a Leader. Thank you so much for listening. Bye.